Hey, friends. This is a short teaser of a follow up episode that I put out for patrons today with Nathan Hadley. Nathan was on the podcast last summer and is a total dark horse. He's based in Seattle, Washington, and is an incredibly accomplished and impressive rock climber. And in this conversation, we talked about a recent trip Nathan had to Colorado. He was climbing in Rocky Mountain National Park up on the Diamond on Long's Peak and was able to make one of the fastest ascents, maybe the fastest ascent of the Honeymoon is Over, which is one of the hardest routes on the Diamond. It's about 7 pitches. 3 of them are 513 up to 13C, and the route's about 1,000 feet long, going from 13,000 feet up to topping out Long's Peak at 14,000 feet. And Nathan did it on his second day, which I think is the fastest ascent of the route by anybody ever, which is amazing. He also flashed the gambler's fallacy, which I believe was the second ascent after Chris Widener. Chris and I talked about that in our episode earlier this year. So it was just an amazing trip. And in this follow-up, we talked about Nathan's prep for the trip, how he got ready for it. And then I was really curious to hear how he approached projecting the Honeymoon. So we talked about his first day on the route with his buddy Mike Kersner, who's also been on the show. And he talked me through what that day of prep looked like, how they sussed the route, and about the day of the send as well and how that went. So it was a really fun conversation. The full episode is available right now for patrons, and the full episode is a little over an hour. It's about an hour and 3 minutes. So if you like what you hear in this teaser and would like to hear the whole thing, along with over 20 other follow-up episodes that I've published so far, you can go over to thenuggetclimbing.com, click on the Support the Podcast button, and you should be able to find your way to Patreon from there. Thanks for checking out this teaser, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, let's back up a little bit. I'm curious for people that aren't familiar with the Diamond, and including myself, I've never been up there. What did the start of that day look like? Like, what time did you get up, and what does the hike look like to get to the top of that thing to wrap in?
Oh, yeah. We were talking about that. The start of the day, I think for our top rope soloing mission, that was like the latest that we woke up, which was 4:30, I think. So yeah, for several of our days, I think we did one 3 o'clock day and two 1:30 get-ups.
1:30 get-up. Oh,
so
man.
For the hike to the top mission, yeah, we woke up at 4:30 and then started hiking at 5:30.
I've been doing some night bouldering sessions in the park, and I've certainly stayed up past 1:30 a couple times in the last couple weeks. But
nice.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever woken up as early as 1:30 in the morning. That's incredible.
We were on the opposite of the Rocky Mountain bouldering schedule.
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain bouldering schedule, you start at like 10 p.m. and go till like 2, right?
Right. Exactly. And then hope you can find your way back to the trail.
And then the climbers in the Diamond are starting when you guys are hiking back.
Yeah.
It's brutal. Yeah.
How long is the hike?
The hike to the top is like 4 hours, 4.5.
Oh my gosh.
It's a total slog. Yeah.
And did you just have like one massive static line for the top rope soloing?
Yeah, 200 meters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got it. Who carried that?
200 meters just, yeah. 200 meters just gets you down to the base of the first 513.
Wow.
On the Honeymoon is Over. So yeah.
Those things are heavy, man. That's a hell of a load to huff up there.
Yeah, it's brutal. I don't know. Yeah, but it's probably worth it to TR solo. It's just like so much more efficient to work stuff out.
Are you like I'm not that familiar with the diamond. Like I said, I know there's some bolts up there. Is it like all gear? Is it a mixed route? Are you rehearsing gear placements as well as the climbing?
Yeah, we're looking at the gear a little bit. The honeymoon is over is like more, it's like a little sportier in the sense that like there's some bolts, and then on the crux pitch there's a lot of fixed stoppers.
Okay.
Um so yeah, we ended up placing like maybe like only 3 or 4 cams on the crux pitch. And none of them were like particularly hard placements. And then the other pitches, the 13B and the 13A, the hard sections are bolted. Yeah, as basically a rule. And then there's some easier climbing in between the cruxy, like bouldery sections, and that will be gear protected, but it's much more moderate.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I want to know what happens after that first day. Do you take a rest day? Are you guys like drawing little topos and talking about the route and breaking it down? Are you just like visualizing it over and over in your head? I'm curious how you're synthesizing all that information after that first day and what that process looks like leading up to the red point attempt.
Yeah, I think all we pretty much did was just kind of talk through the moves on the hike down, and then just hope that we remembered them. Actually, the 13C was really funny. We were like trying to talk through it on the way down, but it's like so sustained. Like, yeah, it's just this like a rut feature that you're following for a while, and a lot of it like blurs together. So we were trying to remember the different like hard sections, and we couldn't actually we couldn't remember them on the way down. So yeah, I don't know, we just kind of like hoped that we would remember for sure. The 13B, I like knew exactly, like I could like kind of just had just a mental picture of the crux moves in my mind, like because I had climbed it 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
But then the 13A pitch, we had only climbed once, and we were like, we didn't really remember it very well. And then the 13C was just, yeah, it was like, it was so it's a super long pitch, and it's just this really kind of sustained direct climbing with all these like intricate moves and feet, and it just kind of blurred together too much. Yeah. So yeah, we're definitely like, it would be better to have it like more dialed. And like after getting on it again, I sent Mike unfortunately didn't. He was really close, but we talked about it again, and he like at that point had like pretty good notes about like the gear and the kind of crux by crux sections on the 13C pitch. I think just after our first day on it, we just like we couldn't remember enough. So
yeah, and he's still out here.
He is. Yeah, I need to check in with him, but he might be going back on it tomorrow.
Okay.
To give it another red point burn.
Okay. The weather looks really good for him.
So hopefully it works out. It's a little bit cruxy to find partners to with you. So he was a little bit stressed about that.
Yeah.
But I think he found somebody. Yeah.
Okay, so you have the 12 hour car to car day, and then I assume you take a rest day and then wake up at 1:30 in the morning and go for it.
Yeah.
How did the day how'd it go? How'd it play out?
Yeah. So first we had been like one day on, one day off. So we like basically got into town, and then the next day spent our first day on that like warm up climb, and then took a day off, and then did our TR soloing day and then took a day off and then went for our red point. And that was definitely not ideal. But I think there was like a little bit of weather, so it was just what we had to do. Um,
What would have been ideal? Just more rest?
I think, yeah, more rest.
Yeah.
I think like a couple days at least in between like going up on the diamond. If you're like doing just in a day missions like we were and not camping up there. Um, yeah, it's like you need like there's such hard days you need like time to like build back this psych.
Mm.
So we were kind of forcing it a little bit this first few days. We're like okay, we're like gonna fucking do it. Like it's psych, but like deep down we're like, oh, like 1:30 start, like oh,
Dude.
like a 15 or 16-hour day. It doesn't sound very good right now. I just did that.
I'm still
So
trying to wrap my head around that. I'm like, is that even morning? Do you like eat food? Do you drink coffee at 1:30 in the morning? I just, oh man.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think Mike didn't eat. He would just have some tea and then like ate later in the day. But I had coffee and ate. Um, but I feel like your digestion system, or mine at least, was like just kind of struggling the whole morning to like
Totally.
know what to do with food that early.
Yeah.
Um, so you're just like the whole like the whole hike up, you're just kind of like farting, like you're just like obviously struggling to like process the food. Yeah, I don't know. I think I have like a lot probably to learn as far as like what I should be eating on days like that.
Mm.
For sure.
That's so interesting. Like, that's such a funny thing to say, given how hard the climbing is and how big of a piece of it that is. But days like that are so about the logistics, about the food and when you're going to get there and when the wall's in the shade and the conditions and what to wear and like all that sort of stuff comes into play.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, the layering, deciding which layers are like often like a 20 minute conversation. Mike and I were like, this layer or this layer, like I was a little cold the other day, what should I tweak or do differently?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, what was it original? Oh, how did the
Yeah,
day go?
the
So
day of.
we woke up at 1:30 and we're hiking at 2:30. And then it's maybe like close to 3 hours to the base of the North Chimney. And so the diamond, like the wall proper, kind of sits up above these slabs. And there's this chimney that like kind of cuts through the middle of these lower slabs. And a lot of people, they either just simul the chimney or solo it. There's a lot of loose rock in the chimney, so it's like it's arguably better to solo because the rope won't be like knocking rocks around.
Yikes. Yeah.
And we would get there at the same time as like some other parties and who were climbing with a rope, and we're able to usually be the first ones up, which was nice for us, but it like for everyone else, it sucks to be below somebody in that chimney, because you're like, we would get every day like kind of roping up at the base of the diamond proper up on the ledge above the North Chimney, and we would hear like rocks falling and people yelling rock, and there's definitely like people below them. And so it's that the North Chimney is kind of like the one pretty unsavory thing about climbing the diamond. There is a way to get around it. You can like hike up higher and then like rappel into the ledge at the base of the diamond. It seems like that's like a semi-popular thing to do. But like, I think there's something to be said about like kind of starting from the bottom of the wall, like proper, and climbing the North Chimney. I think it just feels like more like you're climbing the wall. So yeah, and it's like, I think once you figure it out, it's not terrible. It's just like kind of annoying. Um, and so we it takes like 3 hours to get to the base of that, and then maybe 30 or 45 minutes to climb that. Maybe just 30. Um, I don't know how tall it is. It's maybe like 500 or 600 feet to get to the base of the wall. And then I think it would take us usually around 4 hours from the car, including the North Chimney, to like be at the base of the route and be racking up and starting to climb. And then like the wall proper starts at above around 13,000 and is about 1,000 feet. So you're climbing from 13,000 to 14,000 approximately.
Man.
Yeah. And it's like generally like 7 to 10 pitches of climbing, depending on the route. Yeah. So it took us about 4 hours. And then the plan was for me to take the first block and to lead through the 513C crux pitch. And the first 3 pitches went pretty smooth because we had climbed them before. They're super fun. Like, honeymoon is over. It's kind of just like it's one of the best routes I've climbed because every single pitch on that route is really high quality climbing. So the first 3 pitches are like definitely not throwaway at all. Like they're like super fun, good climbing. The second pitch especially is like you kind of diagonal across the space and like kind of connecting these cracks, and there's a bunch of face holds. The gear is like a little bit funky, but it's like all kind of barely there. Yeah, it's kind of like you're just like questing across this like open face. It's really cool. And then the third pitch is a sandbagged 511 plus, and you're like stemming in this like perfect corner, really, really high quality rock. Really interesting corner and stemming moves. Kind of thinky gear, but it's all there again.
Thinky, I like that.
So those pitches all went smooth, and then I headed off on the 13C pitch and made it pretty high and fell my first go on it. And then our plan was like, if we fall, we'll just like swap leads. So I lowered down. At that point, it was kind of nice.
Hey, friends, thank you for listening to that teaser of my follow-up with Nathan Hadley. Again, if you want to hear the whole thing, go over to thenuggetclimbing.com and click on the support the podcast button at the top of the page, or you can just scroll down right there in your podcast app, and I put a link to Patreon right in the app. So you should be one click away to signing up. It's $5 a month if you want to support the show and get access to the follow-up that you just heard. The full thing's a little over an hour. I've also published, I think, 22 follow-ups total now. So there's a lot of great content to be had if you sign up for Patreon. Many more hours of great conversations with many of your favorite guests from the show. Again, it's $5 a month. I hope that doesn't feel like a big ask for you, and I hope you don't even notice it leaving your bank account each month, but it really does add up quickly for me, and every dollar truly helps. I really appreciate all of the support. Thank you guys. Be well, and we'll see you next time.
Move with the rhythm. Shake it up, stop when the clock hits 13. Sing 1, 2, 3, 4. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.